Okay, this is a very important question. How many of you had received the COVID vaccine? Anyone had received the vaccine can raise his or her hand or can write in the chat. Okay, we have raising hands. Okay, we have raising hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Count me in. Count me.
6, 7. Okay, we have a quite good number here.
Okay, but يعني لا 50%. يعني لو قلنا كده مثلا 50%.
No, I think it's maybe something like 30%.
Oh, come on, even. Like.
And how many was sick? How many got the disease?
I didn't. I'm IgM positive and IgG positive. That's why they told me I have to wait for the vaccine.
Yes.
So maybe we need to know the number. How many?
Okay,
we
okay, then you are going to ask. Thanks for all who had raised their hand. Actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 had raised, 6, 10 had raised their hand that they have been vaccinated. Can you please lower your hand? And we are going to ask the second question, which is how many of us had received or was diseased or got infected with COVID-19? Okay, I'm also raising my hand. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
Yeah, we are 5. 5 plus 10 equals 15, and nearly we are 27 to 30, something like this. So we have something like okay, we have someone else also in the chat said she got the infection, Asma. So I think we are almost 50% who had received the vaccine and who had got infected, and the rest didn't. I think Dr. Nisreen, next question is going to be why.
Correct. Correct.
Anyone would like
to hear? Yeah, I like to hear the answers. Yeah.
Anyone would like to share with us why?
Why not take the vaccine?
Yeah.
Let them say. I took.
Dr. Mona Usman, don't you would like to share with us the Lebanese society or the Lebanese experience with that?
The Lebanese experience with vaccination?
Yeah, Lebanon. How the things went so far?
Yes. So I don't have the numbers in my mind right now, but we have different types of vaccines that are available in the market. So we have 2 vaccines that are offered through the government, which are the Pfizer and the AstraZeneca, which is through the WHO in a way, through the COVAX platform. And we have 2 others that are offered in private. So in Lebanon, we have, and you can get the vaccine either through the government for free, or you can pay for it and get it through the private market. But it is also organized through the ministry at the same time, but you have to pay for it. So there we have the Sinopharm and we have the Sputnik. So they are available. The government put a plan to vaccinate, the identified priority. They prioritized who can be vaccinated first. So they put the healthcare workers, the first priority, with the elderly, 75 years and older, and then they were moving down the scale. So until now, I think the number vaccinated is around something like 18% of the population up till now. But hopefully in the coming, I think, months and during the summer, we will receive much higher number of Pfizer vaccines and of course AstraZeneca, and maybe we'll have more people vaccinated, especially that it will be offered through the universities at the same time, because in order to go back to to face-to-face education later on. The problem here also is that there is a big fear from AstraZeneca I guess, like in, I don't know, in Egypt, if you have this, hesitancy of people to get the AstraZeneca. But that's why currently the government offered it to anybody 40 years and above. They can go even without, everyone has to register on a platform, on a specific platform, so that they can be vaccinated, and they are called, depending on their priorities. But currently, they offered, and AstraZeneca is available on a walk-in basis for any person 40 years and above.
Yes.
So they can get,
Perfect.
in order to cover as much as possible of the population in a way, because the target population, the first target population, they were very hesitant to receive it, and especially now with the AstraZeneca, they all want the Pfizer, and we don't have enough number of, enough quantities of Pfizer at this stage. So that's why.
Actually, we have the same situation here with AstraZeneca and the fear of the thromboembolic post-vaccine complication that had been heard widely used, and they are using now anticoagulants in combination with the AstraZeneca. Some of them recommend that, but I'm not quite sure if there's an evidence-based or background or a guideline for that. Dr. Nasreen, could you please tell us?
Well, actually, there has been no recommendations for using anticoagulants associated with the AstraZeneca vaccine, unless the physician subscribed such a thing. Like in the guidelines, there is no recommendation for using aspirin or other anticoagulants, because it has been reported that some of the people, those who used anticoagulants, some of them suffered from severe hemorrhage, even brain hemorrhage, cerebral hemorrhage, and so this is a very this is a very risky step to take. And if we compare the risk of coagulopathies after COVID vaccines and after the infection itself, the rates are very. There is a great difference. Here we are talking about maybe 4 in a million, and after infection we are talking about maybe 1,500 تقريبا per million. I'm not sure of the number, but it's very high compared to the risk of coagulation after the vaccine. So it's very rare, and it's already in people who have abnormal biology. Some of the risk factors where we cannot say risk factors, but they have noticed that these coagulations are more common among young females, and that's why certain countries are restricting the vaccine for the older age groups. Some countries have stopped using AstraZeneca vaccine, like Denmark, for example, and stopped using Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But as I said, the WHO recommended continuation of the use of AstraZeneca vaccine.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Nasreen. Now we would like to hear if there are other questions or other experiences. Yes. Dr. Mohammed Hani, could you update us from Bahrain? What is the situation there, Dr. If you would like to share with us? Dr. Saeed.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I was asking.
Connectivity is not very good.
Yeah, okay. I'm just asking, would you like to update us with the situation in Bahrain about the vaccination there and the type of the vaccination, and if there's any fear of something there?
Yeah, and here in Bahrain, they are updating the guidelines. They are obligating people to get vaccinated. Now you cannot to have meals in indoors restaurants. You cannot go into gyms, cinemas, and a lot of other facilities unless you are vaccinated. It is now mandatory for you to get into some places or have some privileges to be vaccinated. MashaAllah, they are almost, I think more than 50% of the population receive 2 doses of the vaccine, or of the target population. And yesterday they opened the registration for children from 12 to 17 years old. It's only for Pfizer, and they also opened third dose booking for the Sinopharm for healthcare workers and people at high risk. يعني people who received the first 2 doses, they are now eligible to register for a third booster dose of Sinopharm. And children from 12 to 17 can now register for Pfizer. So they are, and they are obligating everybody by limiting the access to a lot of facilities and entertainment places to and link it to being vaccinated.
Perfect. This is a very good point. Dr. Said, you were saying something about that AstraZeneca is not given. Could you please unmute and say?
Thank you,
who
Dr.
attend
Nagwa.
from Bahrain?
دكتور محمد
ندوة؟
هاني. دكتور محمد هاني يا دكتور.
دكتور محمد
دكتورة
هاني.
تغريد حضرتك. Yes.
اهلا ازيك يا دكتور
Good evening.
محمد.
أهلا
ويلكم.
وسهلا. الله يبارك في حضرتك. Thank you very much.
اوكي.
دكتور سعيد.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nagwa, and thank you for all the colleagues here. I was just commenting on the changing evidence we have about the risk of this very minute risk of thrombosis regarding the AstraZeneca vaccine. You know, in the first trials, it appeared to be correlated more with older people, and you know that some European countries held it for the above the 65 people. And later on, this information actually changed. So now the most recent evidence that the odds for side effects, serious side effects, including thrombosis, are higher in less than 30 years population. And this is strange. But after all, you know, from this 10 million trial, it's almost 70 people in 10 millions, which is this is a personal opinion, not evidence. It is like less than minor risk, and it is less than the risk of those 10 millions having air flight or other risk for thrombosis. And of course, there is absolute no recommendation for doing D-dimer or taking anticoagulant prior or the day of taking the vaccine or immediately after. My last comment is between me and you, Dr. Nagwa Nashat. It's about the use, because personally I was relying on that, on doing my IgG and IgM, but this is also a very fresh recommendation that we don't need to test for IgG or IgM or rely on them.
We don't need it.
Yes, the CDC told us that, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so go ahead and take the vaccine.
We don't need it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and the
so
pleasure,
much.
honor to be here with my professors and colleagues.
Thank you so much. Anyone would like to share us from their country, their experience? Dr. Sally, could you please unmute and ask your question? Or
hello, everybody. From my experience with many patients, they have a comorbidities. They asking about the effect of the vaccines on their comorbidities, and I think there's no available data or enough data to satisfy them or to make them sure or feel safe in taking the vaccines, such as many comorbidities, such as a peripheral ischemic disease in the leg, such as the lichen planus and the skin and oral lichen planus. As you know, flu vaccines can induce them, such as another autoimmune disease. All these people need to have a clear information. So what happened if I receive the vaccine on this on my condition? Even the two available vaccines in Egypt, AstraZeneca and Sinopharm, especially AstraZeneca. The main problem is with AstraZeneca because there is a lot of rumor and myths about the vaccine. So I think this one of the main issue why the people didn't receive the vaccine or have many concerns that's not answered and not satisfied.
thank you, Dr. Sally. Thank you. Dr. Said, تفضل.
It's back to Dr. Sari's question. Actually, some of these answers, yesterday we were in a WHO meeting updating about the vaccination and the new strains of the new mutation of the virus. And I asked the professor giving this webinar what the efficacy of the vaccination against the new Indian mutation. And he clearly said there is no available data and we don't know. So we, at some stage, we don't know, and this is okay for some comorbidities and things Dr. Sally was mentioning. But I think an answer like we don't know is better than an answer that give wrong information or wrong advice. I have a personal experience at the vaccination center that the doctor advised me after taking AstraZeneca of taking aspirin. And I got very irritated and asked her the source of this information and who gave them, because this is the mega center in Nasr City who vaccinate 10,000 people at a day. After investigating this, it appeared to be her personal opinion, giving it to all the vaccinated people at that day to receive aspirin for 5 days, which is absolutely wrong information.
So
thank you.
That's why making the decision of taking a vaccine is hard for many people, especially people who have a comorbidities and they don't have any available data about the effectiveness or effect of this vaccine on their comorbidities. That's why it's very hard to make the decision.
Well, actually, the most common comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes, and so on, and this is the most common comorbidities or chronic diseases we see in our community. They are the vaccine is recommended for them. So other diseases may be less frequent diseases in the community. Of course, like Dr. Said said, we don't have yet available data, but for the common diseases, as I said, like cardiovascular diseases, hypertension, diabetes, well, it's recommended for them to take the vaccine. Actually, the vaccine was made for these people to protect them because the mortality rates among such groups of people is very high. Yes, it's safer to take the vaccine rather than wait and see.
I would like to say that the first priority was to the old people having more than one comorbidities. Yani if you
yes,
check, you know, when we add the register to the website, they prefer to add more and more comorbidities. So
yes, correct.
it is given.
Correct. About 20% of the probability of dying after COVID-19 among such population may be as high as 20%. So this is a very high number.
Thank you for the questions and for the answers. Does anyone would like to have a final question or to share with us the final any final experience from other countries before we do our closing?
Well, I just want to say something since we are in the Family Doctor Day. This is a personal experience, actually. When I was going to the vaccination center, I noticed that the physician there tried to scare me out of taking the vaccine. He told me, we don't know how this vaccine is manufactured. We don't know what's in it. I don't know if it's safe or not. So if he's telling such information to regular people,
can you give us his name? Can you give us his name?
البرايفت ان شاء الله دكتوره تغريد هقوله لحضرتك. لان انا فعلا I got very irritated. وبعدين يعني انا كنت يعني دكتوره تغريد عارفه I was already preparing a subject about COVID-19 vaccines. So what about regular people who don't have information? What about them? So this is يعني I think this is the role of each one. ده دورنا يعني.
اوكي يا دكتوره نسرين حاضر.
ماشي.
اموري.
ماشي يا دكتوره تغريد حاضر.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nasreen. I'd just like to ask if any other person would like to have a final question. Could you please raise your hand or write it in the chat? Also, if you'd like to share a final experience from any other country, we totally are grateful for all our colleagues who are from Bahrain, Lebanon, Iran, Saudi Arabia, everyone who had joined us today. And if Dr. Rida, if someone infected after the first dose, does he or she can receive the second dose? Dr. Nasreen?
Infected after the first dose? لا, I don't know. I think yes, but after maybe 3 months, I don't know. I'm not sure. صراحة. لا, I'm not sure.
Okay, Dr. Saeed.
AstraZeneca after 3 months. AstraZeneca after 3 months.
Okay, Dr. Saeed.
Sinopharm after 4 weeks.
Okay.
Or 3 weeks.
Okay, Dr. Saeed and Dr. Mona Osman are replying to Dr. Radwa that yes, he should take receive the second dose at its own time. I think so. If you would like to unmute Dr. Saeed or Dr. Mona and elaborate more.
I leave that to Dr. Mona this time.
Okay, Dr. Mona.
Yes. Okay. So yes, if they got the infection after the first dose, yes, they can receive the second dose, but it depends on when they got the infection. So if they got it within less than 15 days after the first dose of the vaccine, then they have to receive it. After 3 months, they have to receive another dose. If it is after 15 days of getting the first dose of the vaccine, usually they don't need to receive it. Okay, so if they got the infection within 15 days after receiving the vaccine, then they have to get it later on. This is what they put guidelines here in Lebanon that we are following in this way. Usually, if you have the vaccine, if you have the infection, you can get the vaccine, as Dr. Dargit said, you can get the vaccine after 3 months, usually, after getting the infection. But once you get the vaccine, if you get the infection within 15 days, then you have to get a second dose. If you get it after 15 days from the first dose, then there is no need for a second dose.
There is no need.
Yes. Because here the idea behind it, this is how I understood it in a way. The idea behind it, if you get the vaccine, usually you have 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get the antibodies, right? So if you get the infection within the 15 days, then you have, one time you will have the antibodies. So you will not have the booster or the second dose. That's why you need a second dose. But if you get it after 15 days, then you got your body manufactured the first dose of antibodies, and then you will get another vaccine later on, another dose. Then you will have as if you took the 2 vaccines in a way.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Mona. Thank you for the answer. Thank you everyone for the attendance, and thank you for this brief interactive session. And I think our main key home take message is that we need all to be vaccinated, and we need all to take the precaution, and we need all to advise our communities to be vaccinated, as this is the main and the right way during this time. And I leave the final talk and the closing to Dr. Tagreeb.
Thanks for all the attendees. Thanks for Dr. Wagida. Thanks, Nagwa. Hope to all to be safe and to stay well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tagreed, for the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
And happy Doctor Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.